Hello. Aren't you gorgeous? This must into the pan itself. This is not a female, so there is still a female hiding in this area. This is not a female. Is this quarantine? I have never met this leopard before. I need your help, guys. Who have we got here? Which leopard have we got? I think this is quarantine. My very first time seeing him. I think it's him, and I'm absolutely thrilled. Hello, boy. It is a pleasure to meet you. Aren't you absolutely gorgeous? I'm just trying to think if there's a better way to view him in terms of repositioning the vehicle, just so that Brian's got a slightly better view of his face. It's definitely not his tracks that we were looking at earlier. So there we go. It seems the general consensus is that this is quarantine, and I couldn't be more thrilled because this is the first time that I have seen him. I have never ever... Quarantine did used to... I mean, he grew up on Djuma, and he dispersed with his brother Kunuma just before I started working for Wild Earth. And then he keeps making appearances every time I'm on leave. Every time I'm on leave, he decides to come onto Djuma, catch a kudu or something similar, and then when I return, he disappears. So to see him is an absolute pleasure. I was just quite surprised that I didn't notice beforehand. Absolutely wonderful. And James doing a fantastic job of calling it in. And he's blinking sleepily in the sun. So yesterday, as I mentioned, he had a slight confrontation with Shimbambalana, his older brother, another leopard that I have yet to see. I'm not sure what the outcome was. I think probably there, as with most leopard conflicts, it was resolved by one of them walking away. Leopard fights are relatively rare. Sorry, I'm listening to elephants in the distance. Something's upset them terribly. Oh, goodness. Very upset. Okay, I just need to call this in on the Eastern channel. James has called it in on our Northern Game Drive channel. And there's lots of chatter happening in my ear, so I just need to be able to turn one of them off. Perfect patch where he's hidden in the shade. Now, just going back to the Shimbambalana and quarantine conflict, most leopard arguments are settled relatively peacefully. There's a lot of growling, a lot of posturing, but they actually very, very seldom come to blows. Things are going to change, though, as quarantine starts to grow older. So at the moment, he's not really he hasn't quite reached his prime. He will be much smaller than Shimbambalana in terms of just weight, and he isn't yet ready to compete for territory here, or he might be. It does all depend on attitude, and of course his twin brother Kunuma famously, it was suggested, caused some serious trouble in Londolozi with one of their dominant male leopards. But chances are he's going to remain relatively subservient to Shimbambalana for now. But that is going to change. Shimbambalana has established this as his territory, as he is dominant in this area. And things will be interesting when quarantine in about a year and a half, maybe even less than, maybe even a year's time, where the two of them are going to be of relatively equal size, and the conflict becomes a little bit more tricky. And it remains to be seen exactly how that's going to play out. But fortunately, Wild Earth will be here to follow the story. What an absolute wonderful surprise this sighting has been. I wonder where the female is, because it definitely was not male leopard tracks that I saw earlier in terms of their size. Oh, he's looking up. I wonder, I believe that when Brent was with him yesterday, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that he was actually looking quite hungry. I wonder whether or not he's managed to obtain a meal or not. Hello, boy. This is so awesome. Look at those incredible eyes of his. Sort of a light jadish color. It always is such a pleasure encountering new leopards. We love seeing our characters and our well-known and our well-loved characters, but for us it is incredibly exciting whenever we get to see or meet a new character, especially one like Quarantine that I've heard so much about. That intense leopard stare that he's currently fixed upon us, or before finding a more comfortable spot to snooze. And he's big. He's much bigger than I expected him to be. I don't know why. I mean, I just had an image in my head of Quarantine, having seen photos from when I first started here. Brent showed me photos of Quarantine in Djuma, and it's obviously a year later, a year's worth of growing. He has definitely starting to develop that really thick neck of a full-grown male. Okay. Just shifting to a more comfortable spot and making life slightly more tricky. And let us reposition and see if we can't get another view of his head, although there's his lovely tail now visible to us. Stretched out, and his spot is perfect because it's got a little bit of shade and it's also sheltered from the wind that it started to blow once again. Seems as though whenever I make a trip across to Cheetah Plains, the wind starts to howl. Okay, let's reposition so we can have a view of his face. Hold on a second, I'm stuck in my blanket, bear with me. It's wrapped around my legs to keep me warm in the long Cheetah Plains trip. So he came from in here. So the female that we were tracking was a little bit further to the north, and I wonder where she went off to. I wonder what the relationship between Inkanyeni and Quarantine is like. While we shift about to see what he is, been incredibly lucky, repositioned ourselves with another view of. I think he's actually a little bit miserable. I think he's cold. Quarantine does have a very serious face. As I said, it's the first time I've ever seen him. Our young male leopards are just absolutely stunning. They really, truly are. There's something extraordinary about them. They haven't quite reached the older stage where they've got the thick neck and the dewlap, and whilst a full-grown male leopard in his prime is impressive and magnificent and awe-inspiring, a young male leopard, to me, is the most beautiful of all of the leopard, sort of males and females. There's just something so perfect about them at this age. He's looking a little bit unsettled. I wonder if he didn't have another confrontation with Shimvambalana at some point in the evening. Shimvambalana's on Nkoro by the sounds of things. Perhaps there's something that occurred during the evening, or he's just hungry and a bit cold and trying to shelter away from the wind. The morning light It remains to be seen whether or not he's planning on spending the rest of his day here or if he's going to go hunting. But they don't as often as we think. They will definitely, particularly a male leopard, he will chase a cheetah, one solitary cheetah off a kill. And we saw it with Mvula during the Father's Day TV specials, which was an incredible sighting where Mvula came racing in. Mvula, of course, potentially the father of Quarantine. He came bounding in and chased a hyena off the buffalo that it was feeding on. The most extraordinary moment. Brian and I were so taken by surprise that we actually didn't know what to do with ourselves. I think I sat with my mouth open for a good 30 seconds just wondering if that really did happen. It was just such an intense day, that Saturday. Leopards do scavenge, they occasionally chase hyena off. There's not that much, though, that they will be able to overpower. So obviously they'd never think of challenging a lion. And as we saw with Mvula, challenging the hyenas didn't work out terribly well for him because he had to then abandon the kill because the rest of the females returned in full force to chase him away. Absolutely, they won't think about challenging hyenas in greater numbers than that. They will steal kills from the smaller cats like serval and caracal if they happen upon them. And there's even some recorded cases of leopards chasing birds of prey out of trees or away from their kill and stealing whatever it is they've caught. It's a rare situation, but it does occur. And the different leopardize, that was a combination of two words that I did not mean to combine. Different leopards specialize, there we go, in different hunting techniques and different survival techniques, and some do become expert scavengers, some become, like Tingana, expert tunnel and warthog hunters, going into burrows. Most leopards, however, have a combination of several different survival techniques. What's there, boy? Oh, you're just shifting a bit, get a bit more comfortable. And there we go, a good suggestion coming through from Aqua about maybe perhaps Quarantine is preparing a waterhole ambush, waiting for some hapless creature to come down and have a drink. And that is entirely possible. He's found the only piece of cover anywhere in the vicinity of 3 in a row pan. This really is the only hiding place he could adopt. And from his vantage point, he could actually sneak around either side of the termite mound, depending on which way prey approaches from. And I agree with you. First of all, I don't think he looks like he's eaten. It's difficult for me to tell, but he doesn't have that enormous round belly of a predator that's had some food. And we spoke before, in answer to Kat's question about the drought and how much easier it makes the lives of the predators. The animals will be forced to come down to 3 in a row pan at some point. He's constantly alert. He's sniffing the air. That's one of the reasons why I made sure that I didn't block his vision completely or his view completely of where he can see. He's essentially where Brent left him yesterday, or close to where Brent left him yesterday. Nevertheless, a marvelous surprise. And Aqua, absolutely, I think it's very much worth sitting here and waiting to see whether anything does decide to come down to drink. They're going to be extra specially cautious because it is very windy and they know of these water points. And if I had to guess, I would say that they're going to approach from our left-hand side. And the reason I say that is because the wind is blowing in from my right. So they'll want to approach in a way that they can try and sniff out any waiting predators. Okay. Just from where he's put himself, he's just placed the guari bush branch across his eyes, so we don't have a view of his beautiful face. So I think we'll just shuffle forward just a fraction so that we can see him. Let's do that now. Oh, he's up. He's up. What's he looking at? Oh, it's an elephant. There's a whole elephant herd coming down. You can't see them for now. They're very, very well hidden, but he's heard them. And this is probably the elephants. These are probably the elephants that were making all of that noise. Right. Now, how is this situation going to play out? Is he going to... He's going to just turn around to watch them. Okay. Let's shuffle round so that we can watch this situation play out. Okay, I know we've got the back of his head for now, but look at that. Elephants on one side and a leopard on the other. This is awesome. This is absolutely marvelous. Yours, make your way. I'm at the southernmost pan. Oh, I've got your visual. This is awesome. Look at this. How often do we get to see a leopard watching an entire herd of elephants come through to drink? If they carry on around to the other side of the pan, they will be about to find out. And yours coming to join us. This is absolutely wonderful. Most of you are familiar with yours. You know how much he loves his leopards. He is one of the landowners. Ooh. I think it's safe to say that these are our noisy leopards. Good, thank you, yours. How are you? Oh, they're about to find him. I think she's just realized there's something up. Elephants, of course, have an incredibly sensitive sense of smell. Right, Mr. Quarantine, if they decide to chase you, if you could please not run straight past us, so that we find ourselves with elephants barreling in our direction as well. So far, so good. Oh, one female that's not happy. She knows there's something. She doesn't know what it is. I wonder how this situation is going to play out. They might, of course, not notice him at all. And they're not really a threat to him, nor is he a threat to them. But there is the battle of herbivore and predator that plays itself out, and elephants don't take kindly to the presence of leopards in their space, or any of the predators. He could not be more unconcerned. And the elephants are on edge because the wind is blowing. There's one female in particular that hasn't quite found herself a comfortable spot yet to drink. I think that is because she is smelling him. The air is filled with the sound of slurping elephants. Having one very big drink. Oh, oh, oh. Uh-oh. Here we go. He hasn't been spotted yet. There's an elephant calf. Just because their eyesight is actually better than that of an adult elephant. I've seen it with baby rhino as well. They also see better than the adults do. Some pushing and shoving going on there. Hello. It's all right, girlie. Oh boy, that's why he's causing nonsense. But either way, no, this is not a comfortable herd of elephants, and they're about to spot him. I'm surprised that they haven't yet, but he's remaining completely still. How amazing is this? What an absolutely awesome shot. Two of Africa's most iconic animals. no, less than 30 meters, 90 feet away, drinking on the opposite side of the dam, having a wonderful time. Little one. Bit more tricky when your trunk's not so long. Very difficult to reach down and not actually find yourself falling in to the water, which does occasionally happen with baby elephants. Thing. But it hasn't worked out. And quarantine appears to have frozen. There we go, a bit of movement. Look at that little one. It's attracted by movement, but it didn't realize what is there. It senses something, but doesn't know what it is. It isn't brave enough to go and investigate. That's what I meant when I said the younger elephants have different, better eyesight to the adults. This is an incredible sighting. Well, hey Brian, good idea. Well done, good idea coming to Cheetah Plains. This was Brian's suggestion, and I think it was a marvellous one. Now, our little elephant has moved off, obviously dismissed its suspicions that it was about to encounter a leopard, and moved off with the rest of its herd. But there's a lot of vocalization happening with the different members of this herd, and we heard them screaming when we first arrived here, trumpeting away. Perhaps screaming is a slightly misleading way of describing it. Anna-Marie, yes, elephant trumpeting sounds do mean different things. We might not be able to understand or interpret all of them, but elephants do have a very, very wide range of different communication techniques. Almost invariably, though, that trumpeting sound that they make indicates distress of some kind. Oh, look at that, it's amazing. Such an awesome image. Watching everybody disappearing off into the bushes. Yesterday he was being chased by buffalo. Today he narrowly avoided being chased by a herd of elephants. And off they go, none the wiser for their close encounter with one of Africa's most mysterious predators. The leopard has gone completely unnoticed to have a look around. Absolutely awesome. That was really one of the most amazing leopard-elephant encounters I've ever watched. Not that they actually encountered each other, but just in terms of the scenery, it was absolutely breathtaking. Another big yawn, knowing of course that with big cats, very often when they yawn like that, when they start to groom their feet, they are a lot of the time thinking about getting up and shifting, either to just find a more comfortable pose or to move off in search of prey. Speaking of which, I don't know where that impala went. It got intimidated by the elephants and it ran off. But they are in for a drink. Very, very cool. I'm just waiting for a moment before we do reposition to see what he's going to do. I do want to just see if he's going to move or if he's going to stay there. Perfectly nestled between the two quarry bushes. He is gorgeous. Kunuma quarantines twin brother once. Longest. While we think about where would be best to put ourselves and what our best view is going to be of this magnificent cat, James is back up and running. Not literally, but the bushwalk backpack is back up and running. Let us head across to him for a quick update. While James waits to go to the hyena den, I'm just going to move up to give yours a good view of our beautiful leopard as well. Go ahead, Mike. That's affirmative, Mike. There were tire tracks over them already. The Maduro and Konzo. Sorry, guys. Just chatting to Mike. There we go. Oh, this is... This is absolutely wonderful. A playful roll in the sand, and then an intensely focused look off behind us. I'm looking to see whether or not he's spotted something that we haven't. Looking around. And is he going to go for a drink? He's definitely, now that we've seen him up and about, he is definitely empty-bellied and in need of a good feed. Have a quick drink. I'm going to reposition quickly for us, just so that we've got a view of him from the side. There we go. Absolutely awesome. Okay guys, things are going to get a little bit tricky on the game drive comms. Bear with me one moment. Mike, there's just yours and myself in the sighting, because we can't copy all of the responding stations. Maybe if you can just keep an ear out for who's coming, but you are more than welcome to make your way. Oh, he's just so magnificent. Absolutely gorgeous. And he is hungry, he's on alert, he's looking for something to eat, and I think he's decided that the patience game is not paying off. He is going to start moving off in search of a meal. Okay guys, things have changed now on the Game Drive channel. There are several vehicles waiting to approach. We're fine for now. As soon as a Taxon starts to enter the area, then we will have to pull out. But we're going to stay with him for as long as possible. Okay, let's go. Hopefully Here we go. Let's pull up alongside the magnificent male. All right. We've still got a bit of time with him. Let's go up here. And he is absolutely magnificent. Let's make the most of our sighting with him, but I am going to have to get onto the Game Drive channel in a moment. Stride away. Let's enjoy what might be the last view of him, depending on the position of the other vehicles, as he marches forward. No problem, Mike. And it seems as though James has got a very special surprise for you. It's just a morning full of excitement. Let's go and see what he has found. Come in, Tax. That's fine. I'll pull out. Oh, in that case, no, we don't have to pull out. Sorry, guys. I thought we were going to be saying goodbye. But, thanks, yours. Cheers. But we don't have to leave just yet, because Yours has very kindly provided us with a little bit of space to view him. How marvellous. I want to see if he marks his territory here. Is he going to urine spray, or is he not? I am, however, going to give the best view to Tax, who's just come in, so his guests haven't had a chance to spend as much time with this leopard as we have. He is too. He is scent marking. Not fully, but he did urine spray on that particular bush. It is interesting. That's just because what we were talking about at the start of the drive, about the fact that he's not yet competing for territory, but it seems as though he might be. While we reposition and try and find you a nice view, perhaps try and stay with him, let's go back to James and the wonderful hyena cubs. We are still with our magnificent male leopard as he goes off in search of something to catch and to eat. And what a marvellous way to finish off our Saturday morning sunrise safari. And as he goes along, he is scent marking regularly, spraying his urine onto the bushes and scraping his feet. And no wonder Shimbambalana is not... Oh, hello. Terribly impressed with him. Surprise photobomb from one of the other vehicles. And as I said, I am letting them just go ahead of us because we've spent so much time with him, and the guests in that vehicle haven't. So they can take prime position as we come through to the end. And we are going to have to pull out in a moment. Oh, be prepared again. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Tax. Giving us a good view. Moving right up to the side. I'm not going to follow him into this drainage line. He is going to disappear in. Let me just let Tax go ahead of me here. There's only space for one of us. Oh, there we go. Good morning, Ephraim. How are you? Good, thank you. You snuck up on me. I didn't hear you coming. Yeah, east, but from the southernmost pan. Yeah, but highly mobile. Okay. Cool. Cheers, guys. Whoop, sorry about the judder, everybody. Let's catch up. Ephraim snuck right up on me. I did not know he was there at all. Let me move over so that his guests can have a view as well. Sorry, just leopard for me. Quarantine. One of Karula's younger sons. And as he disappears off, we've got plenty to anticipate for the sunset safari. We're going to leave him be for now. Hopefully we can catch up with him there. In the meantime, we have come now to the end of our sunrise